that work for you? Hello, my friends. I'm coming down with a cold. Yep, even in lockdown, still managed to get a cold. So I sound a little funny, and my voice hurts, and I'm tired. But I'm here to do the roundup, and also because of the way that I've been scheduling these, pushing them to Friday, there was like a really big gap between these two, and also because it's just a whole thing. Basically, I have like 2 weeks worth of stories in one thing. I have just a giant stack of stories here. So I'm gonna have to go rapid fire. I can't stick on any one thing for too long. We are going to try to move through this as quickly as possible. Not literally as quickly as possible. That's a little too fast. A reasonably quick speed. Okay, let's go. The story of the week was, of course, the announcement of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Again, just like with Mario in the last edition, I have whole videos on this. I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail. It's a Hyrule Warriors game, but it tells a canonical story. Basically, it's a prequel to Breath of the Wild. Talks about all the Guardians and all the stuff that happened 100 years ago. Very, very cool. Nintendo announced that we will be getting new information, additional information on the game September 26th. And it has now been confirmed that that is because it will be at Tokyo Game Show. And this is cool because Nintendo themselves won't be at TGS, but Koei Tecmo will be there with the game, showing it off, so Nintendo will have some sort of presence at TGS after all, and we will get more information. Recently, I reported on the fact that it seemed like some Zelda amiibo were coming back in stock, specifically the Guardians. It seemed like they were going to be going through a reprint, and now it is official. We're getting, reprints of all of the Guardian amiibo, and it makes sense. It turns out, this whole time, they were coming back around to prepare for a game announcement. This was one of those times it actually happened. It actually meant something. So that's cool. Suda51 recently announced that No More Heroes 3 is officially delayed into 2021. Very much expected. We still have seen so little on the game. It didn't really seem like it was close to coming out. And then, of course, the whole pandemic just sort of delayed them even further. So not really surprising. Totally understandable. 2021. Nintendo revealed that the majority of Animal Crossing New Horizons players were in their 30s and 40s. And this is absolutely not surprising. Not surprising at all. I think Nintendo historically really underestimates how many older people they get playing their games. They obviously make a lot of games as though they're trying to make them for kids, and then it turns out that a lot of their audience is not kids at all. So I don't know. I think it's really great to see them kind of acknowledge this and maybe move forward with that in mind. Most of your audience has grown up, Nintendo. And we do really enjoy being treated like grown-ups when we're playing our little games about picking apples and being friends with kitties. Retro Studios has made yet another hire. I'm not 100% sure if this is related to the listing we talked about some weeks ago. But Dylan Job, who has worked on titles such as Doom, Twisted Metal Black, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare, has been hired on as a director of development, giving him a lot of different responsibilities for just kind of like general managerial duties, so that is cool. Just yet another industry veteran hitting Retro and working on Metroid Prime 4. Pretty exciting, always is. In August, Nintendo decided to boost production of Switch units up to 25 million, and they have now once more decided to boost it again to 30 million. The demand is still apparently outstripping supply. Sales are just going that crazy still, even now, and it's not even the holidays yet, so yeah, makes a lot of sense that they need to make sure they got everything they need for the holidays. Multiple sources have claimed that Nintendo has been telling developers to start making their games 4K ready. This seems to lend a lot of credit to the rumor that's been going around about a, quote-unquote Switch Pro coming out in 2021. I'm very skeptical of the idea of a Switch that can output to 4K. I feel like with a Pro, the best we're gonna get is like full 1080p, 60 frames a second, so it's hard for me to think even beyond that. However, Nintendo Life mentions that a lot of people are speculating this will be achieved using NVIDIA's DLSS AI upscaling techniques. So instead of just like pure 4K output, just something of like an upscaler kind of deal. I don't know much about it, but apparently the NVIDIA Shield already uses it, so it could just be that, not pure 4K, but something sort of along the same lines. I don't know. But yeah, it does feel like more very, very strong evidence that we will be getting a Switch Pro, Switch Plus, whatever it ends up being, in 2021, which is very exciting. Nintendo has filed a patent for a Joy-Con controller that does not connect to a Switch. It's just a standalone model. Seems like the sort of thing that could be used like with a Switch Lite if you're playing a game that requires detachable Joy-Cons. I don't know if this is something they're going to be selling, but at the very least, they patented it, so there you go. President Furukawa recently talked a little bit about Nintendo's future plans for their consoles. He didn't really say anything that helpful. It's all very vague. You know, it'll be coming in 20XX, so okay, we know it'll be coming within this 100 years, and it will continue to use Nintendo accounts. Yes, quite revelatory. But I do at the very least think it's interesting to hear that they have very solid plans for their next system. And they also say, you know, they're going to keep doing the whole integrated hardware-software thing where the hardware does something unique, and so the software can be made specially for that. It's really a whole discussion whether or not I think that's important. But they're going to keep doing that. But yeah, just from everything in this report here, he's talking about it like, it sounds like it's a done deal. It sounds like they're already well into developing it, and like they're starting to have some pretty solid plans for it. So I don't know. I mean, if anything, that's cool. Just the fact that he would reference a next thing instead of just the vague idea of it. So anyway, I gotta move on. We gotta go rapid here. Rapid fire. Nintendo is hoping to expand their visual content over the next few years. Obviously, they've already got the Mario movie coming in a few years, but it seems that they're very much looking to expand their IPs in a lot of other ways, be it, you know, movies or TV or anything like that. So that's very exciting to hear that they might even have other projects planned. In fact, Furukawa actually mentioned that there are some in the works. What could those be? I don't know. I mean, heck, it feels wrong to rapid fire this one. That's a big thing. It's a big thing right there. Nintendo is actively looking into expanding the whole TV and movies thing. That's super cool. But we do have to move on. Ooh, maybe I can make a whole video about that later. Ooh, yeah, that'd be fun. The Switch just had a very good August. In fact, it was so good that no other console in US history has ever sold that high a dollar amount in the month of August. And of course, the last time the record was set, it was with the Wii. And now the Switch is breaking all of the Wii's records, which is really amazing. Jump Rope Challenge will be removed from the eShop at the end of this month. I don't really know why, and the whole limited release thing is definitely a conversation we are going to be having very soon. But at the moment, I'll just say, yeah, I don't know. Just so how about you just like don't delete it, and then it's just there still. I don't know. And speaking of confusing and disappointing limited time releases, Super Mario 3D All-Stars is already the second best-selling game of 2020 on Amazon. And that's really surprising because we've had quite a few other pretty high-profile game releases this year, and apparently Super Mario 3D All-Stars is just gonna beat all of them. So I don't know if just that many people want to play it, or Nintendo is really getting people FOMOing out to them stores, or out to them virtual Amazon stores, but I don't know. And speaking of which, scalpers are already pre-ordering up as many of the 3D Mario All-Stars copies that they can, and preemptively putting them on eBay at inflated prices. And there is one singular person, the person to blame for this happening, and that is Nintendo. It's not a person. You know what I'm saying? It's entirely expected that this would happen as a result of Nintendo doing the whole limited release thing, and that's one of the reasons it's really gross. But again, talking about that later. And also, speaking of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, the game has already leaked online, apparently, like to play for people to pirate it. The entire game is just already out there, which is becoming a pretty common thing that no matter what Nintendo does, they just get leaked and pirated anyway. So what are you gonna do? Players have now created over 20 million courses in Super Mario Maker 2. And that's a good rapid fire one. I'm done. That's the entirety of what you need to know. Another rapid fire one, you probably already know. Mario did finally officially celebrate his 35th anniversary. Good for him. Speaking of Mario, in the US, Nintendo has released a Pro Controller bundle that comes with a game download of Super Mario Odyssey. It retails for $99.99, which is, it's kind of a random thing. I don't really know why they're doing, I don't know, just a game with a controller, I suppose makes sense. I don't really know why, but it is a pretty alright deal. Mario, it's like getting Mario Odyssey for like 20, 30 bucks or something, so it's pretty good. Also Mario related, in an interview with CNN, Shigeru Miyamoto talked a little bit about Mario, the man. He said that when they created him, they wanted him to not really be like this big, powerful superhero figure. They wanted to make him a plumber so that he'd be a little more relatable, you know, more like the kind of guy that would live near you, which I think is pretty cool, especially considering it was the early days of video games and they could have made whatever they wanted, but even then he wanted to make him more relatable or something, which is funny because he basically is a superhero, but I don't know, I guess Luigi is too. Also, when asked what he would tell Mario if he were real, he said, "Living in a way that's true to yourself is more enjoyable than being in competition with others. You'll be keeping plenty busy, so don't forget to work out and keep your mustache well groomed." There's really no one competing with Mario, so again, I don't know. He's like the best guy in the world and everyone loves him, so I don't know. Work out though. Does Mario work out? I kind of assume just all of his adventures just make him pretty fit. I don't know. Maybe he does. In Japan, despite being out for a long time now, Ring Fit Adventure has taken the #1 slot, and that is even above the brand new Marvel's Avengers. In all fairness, this probably says more about just how little they care about Marvel in Japan, but I do think it is very interesting that it is still selling that well. Ring Fit is still, it sounds like they're basically just everything they can produce just gets sold. They're selling as many as they can make, which is really weird. It's really just seen just a giant resurgence in interest, and everybody's trying to get their hands on one. It's still really hard. Nvidia is purchasing ARM for $40 billion. And this is a subject I know almost nothing about. I'm sure you could get very good information, including in the Nintendo Life article. Do you guys know about Nintendo Life? It's a very good website. You should use it. I get most of my news from them. I'm just taking the news from them. Thanks guys. Thanks for being cool. Anyway, they did a whole write-up on this Nvidia buying ARM thing, and they go into a lot of points about how this could benefit Nintendo. I don't understand most of them because I don't know much about tech companies. My own takeaway is it would be cool if this helps Nintendo, though anytime a giant tech company purchases another giant tech company, it's real, or any company, just fewer giant companies is never a good thing. But that's a very big conversation for another day. Basically, this thing happened and it might affect Nintendo somehow. Yeah. Look, I'm sick. I'm coming down with a cold. I'm delirious here. I don't even know what I'm doing. If some stories slip in here and I don't even know what they're talking about, I can't. I don't even know. A person known only as Crown Shots is claiming that they took Nintendo to small claims court over Joy-Con drift issues and won. They claimed that they were having problem with customer support getting back to them. They wanted refunds on their Joy-Cons. They filed the lawsuit. Nintendo didn't respond in time for it to go to court or trial or whatever, so it went straight to a judgment, and Nintendo had to give them the money. I don't know necessarily if any of this is true. I'm not really finding any, like, you know, outright proof, but the person claims that if they just spend 16 months calling and emailing Nintendo and actually taking them to small claims court, then maybe you'll get your Joy-Con money back. I mean, I'll take anything. I will take any win over Nintendo on this issue. As I've said many times, they are not making it right the way they're supposed to. Nintendo has announced another very drippy little handful of games for NSO. It's another small little bunch. You've got some of the, like, Y obscure ones, like Scat Special Cybernetic Attack Team and the Peacekeepers. I don't even know what that is. But you got Donkey Kong Country 2, and that was like one of the biggest ones that people wanted. I wanted that. I've been playing the original. I never got to play 2, so I'm very much looking forward to playing this. And then Mario's Picross. Picross is pretty fun. I don't know if I'd play the old one. I'd rather just play one of the new ones, but it's there. So that's pretty cool, if anything, for Donkey Kong Country 2. Neato. And finally, Nintendo has announced another partner showcase for tomorrow at the time of me recording this. So there's no real point in talking about it because I will have to talk about it next week because it hasn't happened yet, but it happens tomorrow. So yeah, it's a whole thing. We did it, guys. We got to the end. It wasn't the longest roundup ever. All in all, a pretty manageable amount of time, but I don't want to make it any longer. So I love you, and I'll see you you later. But I'm gonna go lie down. Oof.